So having said all this, how do you develop your skills in cybersecurity as a business analyst? I will start with IBA and IEE. They came together and they partnered and they offered a certification path through which people or BAs especially, not just people, BAs especially can upskill themselves in
Yeah.
cybersecurity. And why will IIBA do that? Because, globally, cybersecurity issues keep occurring all the time. There is no solution, there is no project implementation, whether it's technology or solution, that doesn't have pieces of security, because everybody knows that, yeah, we have to ensure that we have security. I can give you an instance, for example. So if you're a company, if you work for a company that is into games, developing games, security is not their focus. So even if they don't build security
Yeah.
into the solution, they've
Yeah.
achieved their aim.
It's non-functional. Yeah.
Not functional. So security is non-functional, right? So, but they've come to realize that, okay, fine. What about if we don't secure our infrastructure?
Yeah.
And then somebody be able to steal our intellectual property, our
True.
copyrighted material? What happens?
True.
We have lost that competitive edge, and it's going to affect the sustainability of the organizations, right? So it's very important that business analysts or project managers take advantage of this certification, which is basically IIBA certificate in cybersecurity analysis. And when IIBA and IEE, I is the Institute of Electronics Engineering.
Okay.
So that's the foremost electric engineering group, if I can use that word, in the world. They determine what happens there. So it's intertwined, and they're able to come together with IB and to develop this certification. And I had to review it and say, wow, it's quite a lot. So what I'll be providing or shedding light more on is that the certification itself has some skills concentration. What I did was to go through the skills area and also be able to come up with what I think would be very useful to BAs to be able to understand from enterprise risk or governance risk and compliance. You have to understand what is risk analysis, what is threats, risk assessment, what is a risk. What are different means of addressing or of managing a risk, qualitative or quantitative. Then how do you manage a risk that you have discovered? How do you mitigate? How do you accept? How do you transfer? How do you avoid? These are the things you need to ask yourself. Another one is vulnerability assessment. Yeah, some of you may be aware of some vulnerability assessment tools used to discover weaknesses in solutions or applications. Yeah, but there are also manual pieces to that, because you can go to some certain website and check on every solution and see the weaknesses that they have. Another thing is to learn to know about ISO 27001. I'm sure lots of viewers are familiar with some of these. A lot of BAs would have worked on projects whereby they have to navigate through all these frameworks or regulations. We have COBIT, we have COSO. SOC 2 Type 2 is going to be very interesting to somebody who is working on anything cloud solution, especially software as a service. Is going to be very good for somebody who is working on privacy, GDPR. I will quickly go to cloud computing and security. We have cloud service models. You have to understand shared responsibility model between the cloud customer and the cloud provider. We have different service models, which I've listed here. We have IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. We have cloud deployment models, which is private, public, hybrid, and community. So public is basically like Google Cloud, like Azure, like AWS. So private cloud is something that is within your control. What you have on-prem or off-prem, it depends. And also we have cloud standards as well. We have 27017, 27018 has to do with cloud privacy, how cloud entities protect the privacy of information they have. Identity and access management is not it's not strange to a lot of us. We understand that when you want to log into a solution, you have to log in with your user ID, with your password. But beyond that, you have to also think about multi-factor authentication, right? Something you have, something you are, or something you know, and how to take one step ahead, just beyond the the normal user ID and password. Data security is very key as well. You have to understand that data security comes in different places, in different scenarios or use cases. Data loss prevention is one of them. How do you protect the data that you share with external users? How do you protect it? How do you protect it? Data rights management or information rights management. We have data security at rest, data security in transit, or data security so at rest, in transit, and in use. So we have that. Then solution delivery, which majority of us are very familiar with. You have to understand that we have different solution security. We have, so when you deploy a solution, you have to look at the desktop part of it. We have to look at the web part of it. You have to look at the mobile, because those are the gateways by which users gain access, or maybe to gain access to your solution. And you want to ensure that security. So sometimes security that you deploy on a web solution is different, or maybe the same solution has a desktop avenue, has web avenue, has mobile avenue. So, but all these things have different security controls. So you cannot, the one for web is different from the one for mobile, right? You have to be very careful about that, right?
Yeah.
And security operations as well, forensics, threat intelligence, SIM tools, SOA tools, how to, understand the security operations within an infrastructure. How do you log your audit logs or security audit logs and things like that? You have to understand some of these pieces. All these things are quite documented or quite embedded in the IIBA certification for security. So I'm just trying to expand a little bit on it so that it can be helpful. Cybersecurity risk and control. So you have to understand the CIA triad. It's not the United States CIA anyways. Yeah. So we have the confidentiality, integrity, and availability, which is those are the founding, the core. Let me use the word foundation for information security, right? What is the security for confidentiality? Maybe it's encryption. What is availability? Ensuring that data get across to people who needs it, but then it's also secure. So you want to ensure that data don't get into the hands of unauthorized users. Then IT controls. It's divided into three. We have preventive, detective, and corrective. How do we understand all those? Preventive is something that, I don't want you. It's like a gate that you put in front of your house. So you want to ensure that people don't come in. If people gain entrance into your compound, into your house, into your facility, then there should be something that should be detecting, right? That, somebody has breached the first layer of security. We've detected, but then they've gone beyond the detection stage. How do we correct it? How do we shut them off? How do we respond so that they don't infiltrate our environment? Then for infrastructure security, this is where a lot of BAs, I've seen them work a lot. You have physical security, especially data centers. When BAs are asked to come on board for data center migration or data center consolidation, you have to understand the security risk part of it. Okay, when you are migrating data center from one location to another, how do you ensure that business continuity is ensured, is assured, or data recovery, disaster recovery is assured. Endpoint security. What are endpoints? Endpoints is basically your mobile phone, your desktop computer, your servers, your laptops. What do you have? You also have security on them, like antivirus, anti-malware, and product security. You've heard about IoT, and then I think people should start learning about IoT, the Industrial Internet of Things, right? People should start getting into that as well. Then application security is basically how you perform your test on a project, maybe static or dynamic tools that you want to use. It all depends. And one thing I've discovered in mobile security is that for iOS and Android platforms, is that it keeps growing. You have tons and tons of apps on these platforms. How do you ensure that security concerns are protected, or security concerns are well addressed on some of these platforms? How do you consider investing in some, cybersecurity certifications? Basically, how would you? I think the first step is to look at the IIBA CCA certification. which is very straightforward, which is very good. It is loaded. It has a lot of information there that if you're able to go through the study material, you are going to be at least you are going to have a head knowledge of, about cybersecurity, and you can contribute meaningfully in security projects. Another one that we recommend is Certified Information Security Manager from Issachar. It's also good. It teaches you the information security managerial aspect, which can also add a lot of values to you understand what information security risk are all about. Another one is CompTIA Security Plus, a little bit technical. Yeah, but if you can, delve into it, it will be nice. And then if you consider cloud certifications, we have these top three. You have AWS, Azure, we have Google Cloud. They have lots of certifications for solution architect and for cybersecurity. There is no public cloud vendor that doesn't have cybersecurity pieces to their certifications. And what are the key takeaways today? Basically, BAs are needed more than before, especially in cybersecurity space and as technology evolves. Not just on cybersecurity space, because I may be passionate about my field, but then I think basically as technology evolves, BAs and BAs are needed all the time. I was checking an opportunity in the United Kingdom, and they're asking for IT business analyst. And when I check the job description, it's basically security, document requirements for these, document requirements for confidentiality, integrity, availability. How do we check for requirements for our protective, detective, and corrective controls? So you can imagine for an IT BA role, right? And that was amazing. So for BAs, there are lots of opportunities out there. Technologies keep evolving every day. If you see tons of solutions, applications being developed on daily basis, you'll be so amazed. So the role is the opportunities are there. That when you put on the hat or a cap of a cybersecurity specialist, it also gives you an edge. And the one thing is that you have to keep developing yourself. You develop goals for yourself. For professional development. How do you? There are a lot of ways by which we can develop ourselves nowadays. There's tons of videos on YouTube, Udemy, Coursera, Cybrary, Pluralsight, all those places. They have lots of information that will keep you abreast of what is happening, not only in BA space, but generally in technology space, in cybersecurity space. So it's really going to help. So final note, according to IIBA, while cybercrime is on the rise, many business analysts are making it a priority to become more skilled in cybersecurity practices. Even if you say you don't want to be a core cybersecurity specialist, but then you can still, play in that space as a BA and hold your head high and really add value. And people, will be connecting with you for opportunities.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you so much.